What's up people, this is Vishal and today we are going to learn about another JavaScript concept, event bubbling, and we're going to learn this in a really cool way. So without wasting much time, let's go. So I spent some time last night to write this code. Let's try to understand what I've written so far, and then we'll run this code and see everything in action. So I've created an HTML file with some nested boxes over here, and I'm importing two scripts, which is one of them is find by class. Find by class is nothing but my polyfill for get element by class. So since I wrote it, why not use it? So another script that I added was the main.js. So we'll look at main.js at the end, but let's first look at the CSS. So in the CSS, I have some cosmetic CSS over here, and the CSS, when the active class is added to body and each of these boxes, they are going to change the background color. That's all. Okay, so these two things, the HTML and CSS, gives me this kind of output. So let's first understand how the event travels through the DOM. So the event will always travel from the outermost layer, so that is going to be your document body, and then it will go inside my box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4 until it finds which element triggered the event. Okay, so let's say innermost box is the one which has triggered the event. So the event will travel from the top, from body, box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5, box 6, and then when it finds the target element, it will start bubbling outside. Okay, so now it has found the event, it will start to bubble from here. It will go back to 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then go back out of the DOM. Okay, so basically that creates a bubble for me, and hence it is called event bubbling. Now in JavaScript, whenever you add an event listener, so now we know that the event is traveling from outside to inside. So whenever you attach an event listener, it will by default always get attached in the bubble phase. Okay, so the phase in which the event travels from outside to inside is the capture phase, and the phase in which the event travels from inside to outside, it is going to be the bubble phase. And by default, whenever you attach a event listener via JavaScript, by default it gets attached in the bubble phase. Okay, so when the event has reached the target element, and when it is traveling outside, that's when your event listeners are latched. Okay, so keep this in mind. Let's look at our JS code and then get back to this. I'm storing the reference of document.body inside body constant, and I'm also storing the array of all the boxes using my find by class polyfill. Apart from that, I have a reset function. It is just going to remove the active class from the body and the boxes, and it is also going to trigger the reset function of set active class. So let's look at what set active class is. So set active class is assigned to a self-executing function. So this self-executing function is going to assign a variable called element order equal to an empty array, and since it is self-executing, it is going to return this object with my handler function and reset function and assign that to my set active class. Okay, so this is a closure, and the handler and reset function will still maintain the access to element order. Okay, now let's look at our handler function. So this is nothing but our event handler, which I'm using as a callback on my event listeners. So what we are doing inside this is we are pushing the element for which the event is getting triggered. Okay, so this is going to maintain the order in which my event listeners are getting triggered. Okay, so apart from that, I'm also doing a set timeout here to defer the execution of the main part, where I'm just setting the active class on the element on which the event is getting triggered. So I'm just deferring them with 500 milliseconds so that we can see the difference of the event happening across all the other event listeners. Okay, so those are the only things that are happening inside the handler. So and at the last, you can see that we have a event listener attached to the body and event listener attached to all of the boxes. Okay, and both of these event listeners are going to trigger my handler function. Okay, so remember that we are maintaining the order, and based on that, it is going to set the timeout. So let's go to our browser, and let's trigger the event from box number 6. Okay, so as you can see, when I clicked on the box number 6, the event actually traveled from outside. It reached the target element, and then it started traveling outside again. Okay, so like I told you, in JavaScript, whenever you add event listener, by default they are getting attached to the bubble phase. The bubble phase is nothing but when it is traveling from the target element to outside, right? So in that phase, since the events are attached on in that phase, hence you're seeing the colors changing from inside to outside. Okay, let's reset it. Let's see that again. So I'll call my reset function and I click on box 6 again. So you can see that the coloring is happening from inside to outside. Okay, let's reset it again and let's click on box number 3 now. So it is quite clear now. The event is coming from the outermost layer to the target element, and when it reaches the target element it starts bubbling outside. So hence we are able to see the box number 2, 1 and the body getting the active class, while the rest of the elements did not get the active class. Okay, so we just saw the demonstration of when the event listeners are attached on the bubble phase, how the event is traversing, right? Now let's say I want to attach an event listener on capture phase. So like I told you, the capture phase is going to be from the outermost to the target element. Okay, so when the event is traveling from the outermost layer to the target element, we are going to attach our event listeners in that phase. Okay, to do that in JavaScript we have to pass a third parameter. So by default the capture phase is false. If you set it to true, that time our event is now attached to the capture phase. So let's hit a refresh and click on the box 6 again. Now as you can see that the event traveled from outside to inside and all our event listeners were on capture phase. So when the event came to the body, it was on the capture phase, so it immediately changed the color. Then it reached box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, box 5 and all of them were on the capture phase. So you could see the color changing from outside to inside. Okay, now let's do one thing. So we will add body's event listener on capture phase while rest of them are on bubble phase. Okay, so let's hit a refresh. So according to my expectation, what should happen now is, since body is on the capture phase and the event first starts from outside to inside, so this will be immediately executed. Okay, this handler will immediately be executed. So the first element to get colored would be body, and since rest of them are from inside to outside, which is on the bubble phase, so the rest of the elements would happen from the box 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so let's see that in action. Hit a refresh and click on the box 6 and you can see this is working as per our expectation, right? So that's all for this one, guys. I hope the explanation was clear, and if you have any questions, just drop a comment in the comment section, like and share my video, and subscribe to my channel for more such videos on these interesting concepts of JavaScript, and hit the notification bell to get notified about my videos whenever I upload them. So that's all for this one. Thanks. Bye.